A person from 1925 gets transported to the year 2025. What things will shock him her the most? I asked my grandmother this not too long ago. She's 103, about to be 104. She said the sheer speed of everything, the speed of travel, information, you're basically never waiting on news, on something to arrive in the mail for more than a few days. She said waiting used to be a bigger part of life, and that it made certain things feel more special, more worthy of your undivided attention. I can relate, and I'm only half her age. I remember mail ordering items from magazines as a kid, and it would take 6 weeks or more to arrive. Seemed like an eternity, to the point where an arrival would be like a Christmas event. I think things like the internet would break their mind, but things they can comprehend that would blow their mind would be a stroll through a grocery store. The size of fruits and veggies, seeing them available out of season, and seeing exotic fruits available at all would be shocking. Also, a variety different cuts of meat everywhere would be shocking. Don't get me started on the candy section. A treat from my great-grandma, born in 1918, was a spoonful of sugar. Yes, my parents were the same. An orange was a rare treat. We can access almost anything, anytime, anywhere. The time machine used to transport them through time. What do you mean? I can't smoke in this bus? It's just a light cigarette brand. Don't worry, it won't harm the children. I myself started smoking at 6. It didn't do no harm to me either. What do you mean I have to sit at the back of the bus? I'm white. We created a global network of communication for instantaneous information exchange and decided that its primary purpose was to amplify our stupidity. Walt Disney started out in 1923. Animation has advanced, and with CGI the line between reality and fiction is blurred completely. Take him to a movie. I'm going to take them to see Jurassic Park, then the Terminator movies, and tell them they are documentaries. Don't send me time travelers, I might have too much fun. Yoga pants. Imagine hanging out in yoga leggings and crop tank in 1925. There was a song written by a female singer in the 1920s that's just as raunchy as WAP. It'd shock them less than you'd think. Ordinary folks in 1920s middle America weren't listening to Lucille Bogan, though. They had Nort back then, too, so that isn't different. What is different is that those things were very underground back then, and now they're part of pop culture, or nearly so. Sears no longer sells machine guns and pre-built homes through catalogs. It's amazing to me that Sears didn't figure out internet commerce before it was too late. It was literally just an updated version of their original business model. Now Amazon, arguably their spiritual successor, is eating everyone's lunch. You should read The Innovator's Dilemma. This was actually super predictable. The problem is, companies that come up through innovation always struggle to do the next big innovation. And the reason is pretty easy. It has to do with how companies are structured to continually chase profit and larger margins. Innovation often comes with big changes and chasing smaller margins. Like, do you notice how your phone doesn't run Windows? It should, it's just a small computer. Why is Harley-Davidson almost gone, while electric bikes have sold 100 million units over the last couple years? E-bikes are just small electric motorbikes. It's because companies are set up in a way that pivoting to less profit is basically illegal. They would be jeopardizing shareholder money. And in defense of that, for every Amazon, there was like 40 other online stores at the time. Knowing which one would win was a guess. See and hear that thing up in the sky, at 10,000 meters? That's a jetliner. It's carrying 300-odd people from London to New York. It'll be there in about 8 hours. No one will die of suffocation. They each have a big bag of clothes, and they'll have food, drink, music, and color moving pictures, with sound, on their own individual screens to watch. And it'll cost less than a month's average wage to do it. Even more than an airplane, rockets. We've landed humans on the moon, and robots on other planets. Hell, we've had 5 spaces probes leave the solar system. We still receive information from 3 of them. One even sent back a photo of Earth as it left our solar system. Yes, we get photos of other planets and moons. In color. We've also landed robots on comets and asteroids, and then returned a couple of small samples to Earth. We have telescopes in space, and even one that's about 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. There's many satellites that orbit the Earth, used for all sorts of things. Oh, and there's an International Space Station, a scientific research lab that also orbits the Earth, over 400 kilometers above us, where people live and work for months at a time. Jetliners? They're an old hat. I'm still blown away that we went from the first plane flight to landing a human on the moon in less than 70 years. And space exploration has been a normal thing since before I was born. How the freak show people in their day are out and about living normal lives. Especially how seeing someone the size of the world's fattest man is now extremely common. The obesity rate is hugely different now. We'd all be considered incredibly rude, crude, and too informal. Prices. There's a reason why the trope exists of the super old person who goes around thinking 5 cents is a lot of money. I was at the grocery store yesterday and watched an 80-something-year-old lady yell at a cashier over prices. She literally told a 16-year-old she should be ashamed of herself for charging that much. If this one will make you feel better, I watched a 70-ish-year-old granny at the Dollar General the other day pick out which tins of Pokemon cards she wanted to make a deck to beat her grandkids, because she was going on and on about it, lol. She was also rocking bright purple dyed hair. Related to prices, the amount of hours almost every American has to work now might be surprising, considering that these individuals would have been born somewhere between 1823 to 1923. They might have imagined that if anything, humans would work less due to technological advancements. But instead we allowed a system of exploitation and a cultural mindset of false scarcity of resources to keep most of the population working too much to put a lot of thought about how they are getting the short end of the stick. They would be famous for a week, then get cancelled saying something incredibly racist in a casual manner. Like, where is the white-only section? Then there would be Reddit debate on if they were truly racist or just behind the times. We use electricity in so many ways and very efficiently. In 1925 we only knew electricity could generate heat, product magnetic and field, shoot out electrons, and that's it. To convert voltages we used to convert electricity into a magnetic field and back. To convert frequency we used to convert electricity to mechanical motion then back. To convert electricity to light we used to convert electricity into heat and use heat to generate light. Now we can do all those things directly. We have this thing called semiconductor that can manipulate electricity by itself. A 1925 scientist would be impressed. I think this would go over most people's heads. I would even say scientists from 1925 would be far more fascinated with electricity than people from 1700s and older. 1925 is the point when scientists know what's electricity and what can it potentially do. It's not like it would be an incomprehensible concept to them. They would be even more fascinated by what we have managed to do with it than people for whom electricity is magic with craft. My grandpa was an engineer. He built a TV out of scratch back in 1960s. It was made of tiny CRT used for computers, vacuum tubes, and a lot of other stuff I don't understand. He told me it broadcasted one TV channel, and second one on weekends. We still have it at our cottage, next to the modern TV. I imagine if I traveled back in time even only to 1960s, his mind would blow up if I told him I can broadcast hundreds of channels on my watch. We, too, are just recovering from a pandemic. If anything, this is the thing that wouldn't shock them as they lived through one. I think it would be 100 years later and you didn't learn anything about how to prevent these. You guys are giving 1925 too much credit. It wouldn't take internet to break their brain. Just show them a standard city bus, street, restaurant, the diversity will break their brain. They will be coming from a world of intense segregation. Take them somewhere like Chicago with a black mayor, that's all it would take. Honestly, I'd say it would be something as simple as showing them that World War II happened. WW1 was called the Great War, and the war to end all wars. But then to find out that there was a sequel, and it was worse not even half a century later. That would probably be one of the hardest things to comprehend. It's also something that they'd find out about first, as one of the first things they'd want to know about is what happened to their friends and family, many of whom likely died in WW2. They elected a black man to what? Twice? As a Democrat? For the youngsters reading, before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Democrat Party was the white party of the South. Times change. That we have magical devices that can do thousands of computations per second and communicate instantly across the globe. But that our offices are somehow less efficient than in 1925 because we spend all of our time passive-aggressively typing emails that nobody reads instead of just talking to each other. Honestly, I think it would be shocking enough for a person from 2015 to see the world of 2025. How young some people in their 50s and 60s look. How fat so many people are. Why I have to buy my cocaine from some shady guy in the street, and not just from the pharmacy. What would shock someone from 1925 and 2025? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.